So basically this is a group mock interview session. Now in this session we will discuss about the questions and answers. I will allow like 2 to 3 people to answer the questions of every question, right? Then we will discuss about the approaches and these things. Okay, so it would be great if you can open your camera, because yes, like we are going to discuss the interview questions and I will directly ask, then you need to answer. It's mandatory for this session. Kindly open your camera. See, if you have an interview in the company, then you cannot deny that I will not going to open my camera. Okay. Yes, quickly guys, we have 24 people. Like I am doing this session just because of people are giving the interviews and companies are actively hiring, right? What I can see on the LinkedIn, companies are hiring, like service based company, product based company, startups also hiring. People are giving the interviews, and like from the batch 3, some of the people have also cracked the companies as well, right? But they are stuck in the notice period part things and discussion. But yes, like I'm really happy that those who are doing good job and giving the interviews, so that's why I am doing this session. Like we have only one, two, three, four people right now: Han, Bhaskaran, Shivam, and Shutub Deshpande. Okay. Apart from these 4 people, anyone don't want to attend this session or don't want to involve in this discussion? Yes, hi Guru. Yes, your voice, I think you are on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I was talking about mute.
Guys, you will get rejected after this session. Please do that. Yes, yes. We have more people as well. Gokul. MB and outside. What is MB, Prashant? MB muscles, please.
Probably mobile.
Okay, mobile. Okay, okay. Yes, no worry, Prashant. Anyone wants to open? Yes, Naroj here. I think people are setting up the background, these things. Nice. Yes, we have Karan, we have Geeta as well. ओके 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 संभव, हाँ संभव का तो कैमरा हमें चाहिए होगा. संभव प्लीज़ कम. यार तुम्हारा इंटरव्यू क्रैक कराना है भाई. अच्छा घूमने जा रहे हो, ठीक है. ओके नो वरी. Okay, so I have started the recording. Just give me 1 second. Let me add the charger as well. Just give me a second. Yes, Kalyan, no worry. Okay, so let's start the session. And first of all, let me introduce myself. Then, like, I'm not going to take your introduction because I don't want to waste this time, right? So, I am Azim. I have 5 years of experience completely in Android. Worked with multiple product-based companies, service-based companies, and also startups. And I have completely worked on the Jetpack Compose, server-driven UIs, Kotlin, architecture, clean architecture, a lot of things I have worked on. Now, the basic thing is that uh, let me first decide, or like let me first share you the structure of this, what I can say, of this group discussion or like group session, right? So the structure should be remain in such a way. So we will cover, this session is actually divided into four parts. First we will touch the from the Kotlin basics, then we will go to the basic Android, then we will go to the architecture and advanced Android like MVVM architecture and these things. Then we will move to the some optimization part that will also covered in the basically third part, right? Fourth part will be the compose. Okay, sounds great.
Yeah, sir.
So the first question is, like, can you explain me the life cycle of activity? Anyone, kindly raise your hand. Those who want to answer. Then I will pick. Yes, Aman, go ahead.
So, life cycle of activity basically start from Android methods on create, on start, on resume, on pause, on stop, uh, on restart, and on restart. So, whenever our mobile screen will open, so first it will start with the on create. Here mostly we will do the first time jobs here, and then after on create it will be go for the on start. Whenever my screen is going to just visible, and once my screen is to be visible, it will be on visible.
Okay. Okay. So let's say like I have a, let's say I'm on opening my first activity or like I am on any screen. Now suddenly I got a notification, like, or let's say I got a like any dialog pop up, right? So what are the life cycle callback of activity will run? Can anyone answer of this apart from Aman? Yes, Praveen.
The activity goes to the on pause and then on stop. And then the second that second activity will comes in that case that on clear from the restart from the on clear. That's second activity.
Okay, Prashant, you want to add any point? Hello, Prashant, you are on mute. Okay, yes, Gaurav.
Yeah, so whenever a notification appears, the activity will go on pause, and once we click the notification, or if there is a call, we open that calling app, the activity will go to on stop. And once we come back, once that call is done or that notification is addressed, then the activity will come again with on resume callback.
Okay, Karan.
Yeah, so when the dialog pops up, the activity will go into on pause. If we close the dialog, then after the activity will go into the on resume.
Okay, sure. Okay. So let's say, like, can anyone explain me what are the launch modes in Android?
There are four launch modes: standard, single task, single instance, and one more is there. Single standard, single top, single instance, and
Yes, there are
I
four.
forget.
Yes, anyone wants
Same
to
same
complete?
thing happened with me in Intel.
Anyone wants to complete the last one? What are the, what Deepak is missing?
Sir, single task.
Single top and single task. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we have four launch mode. Now, can anyone tell me the difference between single task and single instance? Anyone? Confused? Yes, Geeta.
Yeah. For example, single talk will be like, for example, I have the activity A. Activity A, from the A, I will transition to the activity B. My activity B is already on the top. If I want to relaunch my activity B again, if it is on the top, it will not create the instance of the B again. It will just reuse that activity. And when it comes to the single instance, what it will happen in the entire stack, only the one instance of the activity will be there. For example, how should I have to tell this? Yeah, this is what the difference actually.
Okay, and what about the single task? Then what about single task?
Yeah, actually, single task will be there. Now, for example, call and all. It will take the entire only single task in the whole process. Actually, it will acquire the whole screen. Actually,
It will acquire the whole screen. Okay.
I think it's per the stack, right? So only one in the stack activity stack only one activity will be there per stack. That what it means single stack, right?
Okay, and then single instance.
So whole new stack activity stack will be created, right? And then in that stack, a new instance is added.
Correct. Yes. So basically, in case of the single instance, like a new task is created, like, and that instance is only happen, or like is only placed in that new task, right? But in case of the single task, so actually these are confusing. These are create the confusion with the, like, actually the words like single task or single instance. Like people think instance means like within the same task, but when we see, or when someone asks about the single instance, so we should remember that single instance is only about the creation of the new task actually, right? And single task means like only one instance will placed of same type in a task. Like there cannot be two instance of the same type in a single task. Sorry, in a, yes, in a single task. Got it? Can anyone give me any real life example of the single task?
So we can say that splash screen, that launcher activity.
Splash activity, launcher activity. Is it really single task?
Yes, because splash activity only when we launch the app it will comes once and then it will go. Like we do the pre-request things like setting up the app and other things.
Think about it once. Like guys, this question, yes, to all of you. Yes, Sushmita, go ahead.
Yeah, like Gmail means inbox should not open multiple times. Once notification will come, it will always bring us back to the same inbox.
Correct. Same example is the WhatsApp. When the notification comes, a lot of notification come, if I click, then multiple instance of the same activity or chat is not opened again, right? Is it clear to all? Now, tell me what is intent.
I see. I thought actually here in the chat application it will be a single top, right? Not a single instance.
No, like
If it is all,
how it is single top.
see, there it will avoid the opening of the multiple screens and all same chat. If it is already in the top, it will just reuse it. Why here
Okay,
single
then
task
as
is
according to you, then what should be the example of single task?
single task you are asking?
Yes.
Yeah, there will more. What I thought is like whenever we are opening anything, once the call comes, no, everything will goes. Only the call will acquire the whole thing. I thought that will be the single task.
And Sambhav, what do you want to add?
The example given by Sushmita, I think it is incorrect for single task. I think the perfect example for single task would be, the login screen. You supposed to log in into an application and the login activity is launched, okay, with a single task.
Okay.
And after you log in and you go to the main dashboard or the main activity application, if you accidentally launch the login activity again, all the screens are removed.
All the screens are removed.
And you are again brought to, again you are brought to the login page. No, I don't believe so. Because login after again, we need to redirect the user to the same screen, right? If you make the user to start again, it will not feel good. Right? It's not user friendly.
Okay. Okay, so we have covered all these launch modes actually, correct? And I have also added a detailed description in the first or second lecture on the launch mode class. Those who have not attended, kindly go through with that, then it will be clear to you more, right? Clear? But note down this question. Like this is the most asked question of the single loop and single task. Can anyone tell me, let's say, if I have a contact application, right? Or let's say if I have a normal application, now I want to access the contact from my device, of my device. So what Android concept I should use?
First, the permissions, contact permission.
Okay. Then
Content provider.
content provider. Okay. Can anyone tell me, let's say if I'm using the content provider, so when I try to publish my application on the Play Store, so in 2026 or in 2025, is there any restriction or any permissions or any clarification is required while using the content provider or to access the data of another application? Have you checked or are you aware about that? Are there any restrictions which is applied by the Google Play Store?
I think there are some special permissions which you need to approve. Like every time you have to show a screen before applying, like sending SMS and all that. Besides that, I don't think to access contacts, it's if you give the permission one time, then you don't have to ask permission again and again.
Correct. Like, but I am talking about is there any restriction of the Google Play Store that you need to clarify on the console itself only? Kindly go through that. Go and check that. Right. Now, can anyone explain me what is intent filter?
Intent filter is generally used when you want to open the specific activity or specific app which is part of your device, which is not part of your app. So, for example, I want to open a camera of system camera. I can create an intent filter for it and pass the details to open the specific app or camera in this scenario from my app.
Okay. And what about the implicit and explicit intent, Sambhav?
Yes. So these are types of intent. Explicit intent usually, which means we are inside the application which we are developing when we navigate to screens, and implicit is when we move out of our application to access anything else. That is what I feel.
Correct.
Okay. Coming to this, intent filter. This is a declaration in the manifest file that this is a special activity which we need to pass on.
For which special activity?
No, like this intent filter. I'm having a little bit confusion with this. So, so दिक्कत है ये. I just get confused at times. So this intent filter is a declaration we do in the manifest file, and which specifies the type of implicit intent which you want to proceed or what.
Okay. Yes, Nishanta, tell me.
I think intent filters are is a declaration which you do at the manifest level, which tells other app that I am open to accept this. If you are getting the same intent filter, then when you're showing which apps you can open through it, it will list your app in the same window. Like there will a window will come where you'll tell that if it's a browsable or something like a open. If you have made a camera app, then if you put the camera one, then it will show that this app is also allowed to. You can go to this app and make do the handle explicit intent.
Okay, cool. So we have covered the basics of the Android. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me how the recycle view recycles the views? Yes, Han. Han is so silent.
Yeah, recycler you in the recycler you we use the view holder and adapter pattern to recycle to handle the view in recycler view. So we have view holder, and then in view holder pattern we have the UI to bind the UI for the recycler view.
Okay, anyone want to answer this? Anyone want to add any point on this? How actually the recycler does the recycling?
It does not you recreate views every time. It uses the existing views.
How it reuse that? What is the mechanism?
Can I answer? Like I don't know if it's fully correct.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so in recycler view, there is like a life cycle. There is view holders. So there are life cycles of the view holders. Like there will be a creation life cycle and there will be a bind life cycle. So if there are 10 views which are in the active screen zone, I don't remember the correct name for the active, like the active view which is there in the screen. So it will be displayed off, and then when you scroll up, the displayed views, the what do you say, the content of the displayed view or that get recycles, and the new view which is active, it gets binded again and reused.
Okay, and like let's say if I have a let's say on a screen, recycler view in a first time can display the 5 or 7 items, right? So when user scroll, so what happens to that scrolled views actually? Do you know about the scrapped view?
What view?
Scrapped view and recycler view pool, recycler view shared pool.
I don't think I've heard. The scrap view I have not heard, but recycled view, recycled view pool. I have heard that it's used for nested recycler views, like inside one recycler view there are multiple recycler views.
What is the use case of recycler view shared pool actually?
I don't know.
Okay, how we can optimize the performance of a recycler view?
Diffutil and keys.
Okay, apart from diffutils,
We can, I mean, diffutil and keys. We can use a stable ID keys.
nice, stable ID key we can use definitely. Any other thing that we can use?
View type.
View type is basically it's for the basically multi-view recycler view. But let's say if I want to optimize the performance, right? So how we can do that? Nishanta has mentioned 2 points, diff util and the recycler UIDs. Yes, Shivam.
So like I have seen the terms about like if we have uh, images, so we can use coil loading library, and we have to set the view size so it will not change in runtime.
Okay, so you have mentioned that we should use the coil or glide, right? So why we should use these library in the recycler view? Like, cannot we load the image without using these library? Or if we can able to load, then what is the problem or what is the manually things that we need to perform or we need to do? What actually the glide and coil does internally? Yes. This is the main thing that you need to explore. Kindly explore this. Why we need to use the glide or coil especially instead of manually loading the images. Right? Just a second, Rahul. Okay, no worry. Now let's move to the some sort of the about the services. So can anyone tell me what is the difference between services and intent service? What is the service and intent service?
Main difference is that service will run in the main thread.
Hmm.
Intent service will run in the override.
Okay. But okay. And what is foreground service?
Foreground service whenever we run, so it will be user should be aware, and then we have to use this in multi-function. So the user should be aware what is going in the background.
So see, if intent service is able to solve the problem what is actually we have in the service, then what is the need of foreground service we have?
In Android, actually, service is a Android component, one of the Android component. Actually, foreground service, whenever we need to use, whenever we need important things, we need to high priority things, we need to show our we need to run some task on high priority, we can use foreground with the notification. For example, recently I have developed one wipe call application. Always we need to display that call duration or something call related things on the notification side. So for that I used foreground service. It keeps on running. If app not in background, that foreground service will run.
Okay, but like what is the difference between the intent service and foreground service? If the intent service is already solved the problem, then what is the difference? Then why we need the foreground service? And why intent service is get deprecated right now?
I think
so currently Android is given this some restriction on the background.
Restriction, yes. Dose mode restriction, some battery optimization.
Correct. So to basically to support these and to respect these dose modes and other OEM restrictions, Android introduced the foreground service that user must be aware what is actually happening and what app is actually doing, right? So it is necessary to add a user notified or notification. Clear? And I'm telling to the batch 3 people because like in the batch 3 services we have already covered, right? So if you are not able to answer the questions now, like guys, it's really it's not a good thing because like I have covered all the things from each and everything in detail of a service, like why it is service, why we need intent service, why we need the foreground service, dose modes, we have all the things, so kindly do that. Okay, now got it. Now let's move to the some basic of the Kotlin. So we have some focused on the basic of Android. Now let's move to basic of Kotlin. So what are the scope functions in Kotlin?
We have five main scope functions, that is run, with, apply, let, and also.
So what?
So I mean,
the
basically we
difference
use let to mostly check with the null safety ones. For run, we can use that result, and I mean, we just return the lambda result if we use the run, and we use this keyword for that. For with, we return the lambda result, and also uses this, but it's not an extension function kind of thing. It's just, we just, for example, if I am returning, if I already have an object and want to call, multiple methods, then we just use the that with scope function.
Okay, so what's the difference between let and apply? Apart from Karishma, anyone want to answer? Difference between let and apply. Yes, Geeta, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, let will give us the lambda result. Means it will map the result. For example, if I have the string, I just want to return any length and all, it will give me the just result. That length means it will map those results, and it will give us the lambda. And when it comes to the apply means, mainly we will use that one for the object configurations, and we will apply our object, and it will give us the object only. It will not modify anything. It will give us the object only. And here the object itself is act as a means with this we can able to call the parameters there. Means variables and all. But in let, the object is act as an argument there. This is the difference between the let and the apply.
So what's the difference between val and const? Apart from Geeta. Val and
For const, we have to declare that value at compile time, and for val, it is also immutable, but we can do it at means assign it on a runtime as well.
Okay, Sambhav. Yes.
Yes, both are immutable, but initializations happens at runtime for val, and the same initialization happens at compile time for constant val.
What does it mean?
Hello.
Yes, what does it mean? Runtime initialization or compile time initialization?
So once we try to build the application, first it compiles, then it runs. So during the compile time itself, if there is any mismatch in the value, or if there is any change in value, the constant val will give the exception.
What exception?
I think so. Mainly const, whenever we are declaring, that time only we have to provide the immediate history of the vector.
But like how it is checking that it is compile time issue? How it is checking? We know that it is compile time, it is run time, but how the compiler checks actually?
I think in compile time, whenever there is a constant val, so what happens that it creates a memory and assigns a value to it. While in runtime, it doesn't have a it directly doesn't convert it into bytecode, but there is a getter function in val. when there is a runtime compilation. So in const, if the value is changing and in the compile time, it throws an error.
Okay, cool. Just a second. Yes. Now, what are the higher order functions in Kotlin? Gokul, want to answer?
Yeah, higher order function means we can return the any other function from that function also, like we can return lambda, or we can pass the function as a parameter. Yes.
Okay. Yes, Praveen.
Yeah, that's the function which can take function as a parameter and also which can return the function.
So this is higher order function. Okay. Now, what are extension functions?
Extension function lets us add a new function to an existing class without modifying its source code. So, for example, if I just the string class, I could add an extension function like something like adding an exclamation or anything like that. So I can just use that string dot exclamation. So and then return the whatever string plus that the exclamation mark, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Now, okay. Now, how if I want to make the extension function in Java, how I can do that?
We can declare that function as static.
Static. Okay. How many of you guys will agree with Praveen?
You
can use inheritance.
Yes, we can use inheritance.
Inheritance or static variable? If inheritance, then how? And if static, then how?
Go ahead.
Yeah, inheritance means the concept of extension function in Kotlin is without modifying the existing class, we can add a new function. So in the same thing, we can achieve in Java using inheritance. We didn't modify the existing class. We just inherit that class with the child class and adding that new function on inside the class actually.
But that is the polymorphism. So when we declare any extension function in Kotlin, when we check that Java code, so that function treat as a static function.
Correct. Like static function or static methodology is actually the correct one, right? With the inheritance, like we cannot achieve the exact thing like the extension function, right? So it's all about the what I can say, the simple code as if we see in the Kotlin actually, like we can directly access with the class name actually. So with the inheritance and it's not, we cannot do, but with the static we can do that and access or add the new functionality. Now, can anyone tell me what is the difference between inline keyword and no line keyword? No line function basically.
Yes.
Inline or no inline?
Within inline function, if I am passing two lambdas, and within these two, if I want to make it in no inline, so like two lambdas are there, and if I will use no inline within that one lambda, so compiler will not copy the body of that lambda function at call site.
Correct. Now, what's the difference between cross inline?
Cross inline means suppose it will not allow us to write the return statement for non-local return, something like this.
Okay.
Because we will not be able to write the return statement for crossing line.
Now, what is the benefit of this? And can you tell me any scenario in which like we are returning something and it is not allowed? Can you tell me?
Yeah, I am thinking. Suppose there is one lambda and within that like one runnable is there. Means my lambda is depending the state for the another lambda function. So in that case, like if we will return use the return statement, so like compiler will get confused about the execution. So in that case, we can use cross inline. Suppose there is the on-click function that is a lambda, and within that I am using runnable. So in that case, I can use cross inline.
I am not going to answer this. Kindly explore this, and this is the basically another important question that is mostly asked in the interview right after the no inline or cross inline or refined keyword, right? Like, because like by just saying that it prevents the non-local return, it is not enough. We need to explain the exact use case, right? So yes, cool. Now just a second. Yes, can you tell me what is late init versus lazy? How many people we have? 27. Okay. Prashant, do you want to add any point? Prashant, Deepak.
Late init means if we are not sure about initializing anything and we want to initialize in the future, that we can add the late initialize for any variable. And lazy, it will be lazily initialized when we access first time. It will save like it will use mostly for the heavy operations. It will delay the creation of object.
Okay. Yes, Gaurav.
I think late init is mutable, so it's kind of similar to var, but initialized later, or there is the initialization. Whereas lazy is immutable, similar to var, which is initialized later.
Okay, if I forget to initialize the value in the late init, so what will happen?
It will happen to crash.
It will throw the error.
It will throw an exception.
What exception?
Uninitialized exception. Yes.
So for that, how we can prevent it?
Is initialized if keyword is there.
Yes. Good. Okay. Now let's move to the some coroutines. Okay, coroutines and flow. So can you tell me the difference between the threads and coroutine? What actually the coroutine is? Why we need the coroutine if we have a thread? Yes, Praveen.
So, coroutine is a lightweight. We can say that lightweight thread, which can use to perform synchronized tasks. But the main difference between coroutine and thread. So
Yes, Kalyan.
Yeah, so basically, coroutine is a block of code that's used for to run the background of. So mostly we use the suspend function and the different blocks. So thread is the specific to a OS. That it's part of a proper process. And the coroutine runs on top of the thread. So we can create the thousands of coroutine, but we cannot create the thousands of threads at a time. It declares the performance.
Okay, so Kalyan has mentioned one thing. Kalyan has mentioned one thing that we can create a lot of coroutines on a single thread, because thread is actually about on the like OS level, and coroutine is on top of the thread. Basically, like let me clarify this once. Actually, coroutines is basically just on the like JVM level, not on the OS level, right? But like I have a question that as Praveen has mentioned that coroutine is lightweight, right?
We can say it is just a wrapper around thread.
No, we cannot say. We cannot say, and it is completely like not a not a correct statement. It is a completely wrong statement. So my question is how we can say that coroutine is actually the lightweight, and how the coroutine and how we can able to run the thousands of coroutine on a single thread. What does it mean the lightweight? Yes, Manisha, you want to add? Manisha? Okay, Aman, go ahead.
Yes, actually, coroutines have suspend functions, so we can means play. Pause. If some other priority functions are there, so it can be paused. So by using the suspend function, it can do multiple things at a time. So that's why it's lightweight.
So you mentioned one point. It's about the priority. Like if there is any other function that have higher priority. So how coroutine decide that which have the higher priority?
Uh, Not sure actually.
Okay. Yes,
यार
Aman.
तुम फोन उठा दो ना यार मैडम.
Yes, Aman.
फोन आता है.
Yes, Aman. Hello.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, which was a network issue as well. So mainly suspend function with whenever coroutine is using the suspend function to mainly for the pause and resume. So if, for example, we are using multiple multitask we are using, so it will be like, for example, one task is running and it is idle. So that time it will use the intermittent suspend and will go for the idle and second task can start. So we can say it's the right way because of the function.
Yes, we can say, but lightweight mostly is about the storage, the space, the things like how the space is actually the coroutines is take while the creation. So have you any idea about that? Anyone? How much space a single coroutine creation is take place?
In KBs.
Yes, 100, not KBs, basically in bytes. 100 bytes only.
In compared to threads take 1 MB each, right?
Thread takes around 1 MB, and coroutines take, or cost of creation is about the like 100 bytes around. Right, so that's why we can say that coroutines is lightweight, and we have a lot of things that we have already discussed in the coroutine, the details. Now let's move. What is the, can you tell me that how coroutines works internally? or let's say
It
if
will
I
give
have a
us
suspend
confusion
function.
and priority things.
Yes, Deepak, go ahead.
So coroutine using continuation internally.
Mhm.
Based on that, they will create some what we can say objects and priorities. Then they decide
Yes, Karishma.
in when cases.
Yes, Karishma, go ahead.
Coroutines compiled into state machines, and when it hits a suspension point, it just saves the state and releases the thread. So later it just resumes from the same point using that continuation, and allowing execution on the smaller number of threads.
Okay, and what about the state machine actually? Can you elaborate on that?
So it just converts a function to something like multiple states, and each state will just represent the execution.
Okay.
So for example, if I'm calling an API, then that would be the state one, and then when it resumes after API, then that would be the state two, something like that, and then on the state three, just return the result.
Okay, got it, got it. Kindly explore more on the how coroutines works internally, right? But most of the part that Karishma has mentioned is about the state machine is correct actually, right? Now let's move to the another question. Can you tell me what is the difference between launch and async? Yes, Shivam.
So, sir, like both are using for to launch the coroutines means they are a corotoscope. So, like launch is like a fire and forgot. So, like we like if we want that we want to uh, do any operation, but we not need any result from this. So we can use launch, and async await means we can wait for the like result, and we want the result for the future things.
Okay, okay. Anyone wants to add any point on this? Yes, Kalyan.
Both are the coroutine builders, and the launch returns the job, and the async returns the depart object, which we can use for the future.
Okay, so let's say if I am using the async, right? Now before awaiting, right? Let's say I am not awaiting the result. So when execution will get start? Execution will start on while awaiting or before like when we write the async. Execution will start at that time.
By everything.
By awaiting.
If for await only, execution will start.
Think about again. Think about this again.
No, it will start when we declare async only, because anyway it's a coroutine builder. Na? Await we are using for different use cases. Like if we need to run the API parallelly and the result methods.
Correct. See, like actually execution starts while writing the async, but if you want to get the result actually, like if my async is actually returning some result, right? So that result will only return while the awaiting, right? But the execution is only start before the awaiting itself. Let's say if you have write some print statement or anything inside the async block, so it will get start executed, right? So most of the time people get confused in the interview, and most of the time in the interview they ask the output based questions, right? Okay. Now let me add one auto based question. So kindly answer that. Just a second. Now let me add the question here. Tell me the output of this. Kindly note all the questions. If someone is noting, kindly note these examples as well. Yes, type only single message in which you write the complete output. Before await, inside async, before after await. Inside async, okay, before await, okay. Correct. Now adding another question. Tell me the output of this.
Can you please give post the solution for that, because we have multiple different answers here.
Yes, copy this question and try to execute in the IntelliJ IDEA. Right, but mostly the most answers are the correct. Try to answer the second question as well. You can copy this code complete and you can then evaluate. Yes, guys, you have 2 minutes more. Try to answer this. Yes, Deepak, you have mentioned second answer. So can you explain this?
Just a second, Ajib.
Yes, yes. Can you explain this? Can you explain your answer?
So first this run blocking will start, then it will complete this task 1 first, and then delay is there, right? So it will go to the next thing, task 2, because delay is there. So it will delay, and then again delay is there, right? So then it will go to next where launch coroutines.
Okay. Amit, can you explain your approach?
So basically, it's just starting from the run blocking and it just launch the both of the two and forget. And then it just I have launched the both coroutine and then start the task. Then first task and then second task, both the launch are run as simultaneously. And after the delay, just launch the second. The task 2 is get executed and task 1 is get executed. Then it goes to the complete one.
Correct. So this is the exact correct answer. You can note the correct answer as well, guys. And after the session, you can explore this code. Now,
which one is correct?
Amit has right the correct one. Okay. Now, yes, can you tell me how we can? Okay. What is the difference between? Yes, what is the difference between dispatcher.main and dispatcher.main.immediate? Can you tell me the difference?
So man and immediate both are on update on the main thread, but immediate will be do on a priority task. Updating the UI will take on a priority.
Okay, we'll go on the priority. Okay. Now let's say I have a task 100 task. Correct. I have 100 tasks and I am using the dispatcher.default. Correct. So on dispatcher.default, I am executing all the 100 tasks. Now at the one time, some limited number of tasks is assigned to the each thread. Correct. Now how the task will get executed, remaining task will get executed, or like how they will go, or will they wait, or what will be the process? And if I want to, okay, let's answer this. I have 100 tasks, right? I am using the dispatcher.default to schedule or to execute those 100 tasks. Now it is not possible that to all 100 tasks all threads is get assigned because in the default dispatcher we have also the limited number of threads. So can anyone tell me how many number of threads we have in the default dispatcher? Okay, before going to the dispatcher or thread, can you tell me what actually the dispatcher is?
Default, right?
So before going to default, can you tell me what actually the dispatchers are?
Dispatchers are decide on which thread a coroutine will run.
Yes, correct. Okay, now again another question is, can you tell me the how many number of threads are actually present in the default dispatcher? Okay, no worry. Let's say I have 5 API calls and API 1 is getting success, 2 is also get succeed, but API third is getting failed, right? So what will happen? How I can prevent the other APIs to get failed? That API third should not get impact on the other APIs.
Using supervisor scope.
Using supervisor scope. Okay, correct. And any another way that we can do?
Exception handling.
Exception handling is part, basically supervisor scope is part of the or is one of the way in the exception handling, right? But apart from supervisor job, can we use, sorry, apart from supervisor scope, can we use the supervisor job as well? Sambhav.
So you are suggesting to use supervisor job?
Yes, can we use the supervisor job? I'm just asking.
Supervisor job to prevent the failure of API calls?
Yes. Instead of supervisor scope, can we use the supervisor job as a context?
No.
Yes or no?
I think it won't help us in that way.
Okay.
Because
now my again another question is, you are using the view model. So in view model you use the view model scope dot launch, right? So in view model, is if one APIs get failed, will it create the impact on other APIs?
No.
No. So
yes,
as we are also not using the supervisor scope there.
In view model scope, we have inbuilt supervisor scope.
Supervisor scope or supervisor job?
Supervisor scope.
Supervisor scope. I think
It's supervisor job internally view model scope uses.
correct. So when you go inside the view model scope dot launch, so internally it is using the supervisor job as a context. Okay. Yes. Cool. Now, can you tell me what's the difference between shared flow and state flow?
Ajim, I have one question. How many threads in each dispatcher?
Basically,
it
depends.
It is based on CPU cores.
Correct.
At least 2 to 4 it might be.
Yes, basically in some dispatcher it is fixed, right? And in default it is based on the CPU core. So it depends on that. We have also covered this in the coroutines videos, right? You can go and watch the dispatcher things. Yes, Deepak?
Okay.
Yes. Mainly the core is only only related to the default one. Correct. But in case of the like main dispatcher is only have the one thread. And if we talk about the main and default and IO, yes, IO has I think the four thread. Like you can check this again, right? Now tell me the difference between state flow and shared flow, and what actually the use case where we use the state flow, where we use the shared flow. Yes, Sushmita, go ahead.
Yeah, state flow means like we need an initial value that can be and it will emit as soon as the collector start collecting. Whereas for shared flow, we don't need any initial value, so it will not emit any value by default.
Okay.
And for state flow, it does not emit consecutive repeated values. It emits the value only when it is distinct from the previous one. And for shared flow, it emits all the values and does not care about the distinct from the previous one. And it emits consecutive repeated values as well. And sometime using replay operator, we can get the previous values. Like if we will use replay 2 3, so like latest 2 3 values we can get using shared flow. So for one time operation like navigation or something like this event, we can use shared flow. And state flow, we want to update our UI we are getting some data in our view model, and we have declared a state as a state flow. So by calling it in our UI site, we can update our UI while the state will get changed.
Okay. Okay. And how can we convert a cold flow into a hot flow?
Cold flow in, yeah, so for that share in and state in is there. So like cold flow, if I want to convert it as a shared flow, so in that case we need to use shared in. And for state flow, state in is there.
Nice. Correct. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me what's the difference between the actual hot flow and cold flow? With example.
You need an example, Azim. For cold flow, we can say whenever we are calling APIs, that we can use that flow is a cold flow. Shared flow and the shared flow is a hot flow actually, hot stream actually.
So what does it mean? What means?
Means there is no collector. It will emit the data. Hot flow. Cold flow means if only emit the data and also it will execute separately. If two collector is calling the same flow, it will execute separately. One API call is there. The request from two places, so it will execute 2 times actually.
Okay, got it. Clear. Now, tell me, what is MVVM architecture? Why we need MVVM architecture? As before the MVVM, we have the normal MVC, MVP. Why we need MVVM architecture?
So in MVVM, we basically have model, view model architecture where separation of concerns is achieved. And one major thing which is achieved in MVVM is that whenever we rotate the screen, because of the life cycle changes, the activity gets destroyed and created again. So if we have the data in our UI there, that data will be destroyed and that will be initiated or recreated again. And if we keep that data in view model persists the configuration changes and that can hold the data. So whatever data is in the view model, that will be persisted and UI can just show it whether it is configuration changes or not, that will be there.
Okay, so how view models survive configuration changes? How view models survive configuration changes?
That view model stored in inside the view model stored in the view model store. It internally using a hash map actually. That using the view model name, the view model is stored. Whenever the configuration changes, again it will check for that view model will check for the previous view model is inside the hash map or not. If it is there, it will give the old view model. If it is not there, it will it will create a new instance for the view model actually.
Okay, so see, you have mentioned the view model store, correct? But
yes,
view model actually survived due to the view model store survival, right?
Okay.
If view model store is survive, then view model we can get the view model. But the major question, how that view model survived, or how that view model is actually get saved during the configuration changes. Is it saved now, so that after
yes,
we can use?
If on destroy, view model clear will called actually. Whenever the configuration changes, that on cleared will not called actually.
On clear will not call. But like my question, how view, like where that view model store is actually saved actually?
Yes, inside the as of my knowledge, inside the view model store, it will be stored in the hash map.
No, like, okay, I got it. Okay, like I got a view model store. If I got a view model store, then I can easily get the view model. It is fine.
Okay.
But the major question, how that view model store is actually survived? Yes, Sushmita.
Yeah, actually there is component activity which saves its view model store inside the Android framework's non-configuration instance basically. So before the destruction, it will save the instance.
Right. So it will save the instance in the known configuration. Like there is a method on saving.
On configuration instance of this,
Yes,
on
correct.
configuration change instance, something is there.
Yes. And how it is retrieved in the while survive.
Like there is view model provider, so it will check from the view model store if the instances exist, so it will pass the existing instance, but if there is no instance exist for a view model, so it will create the new instance.
Yes. So basically, before the destruction, it will use the on retain non-configuration instance, like which
Yes,
is
yes.
actually used to retaining the view model store instance. Now, when the view model or like when the activity is recreated, so at that time it will check or it will find that if my NC or if my non-configuration, if there is an instance of the view model store is present in the NC or non-configuration instance, it will get from there. If the view model is extracted, sorry, if the view model store is extracted, then obviously we can get the view model, right? And Bhaskaran has mentioned one good point, that is the when the view model is actually get destroyed, the on clear method is get called. This is also asked in interview. They asked that what view model method is get called while the destruction. Okay, cool. Now tell me, what's the role of repository? If I have a view model in MVVM, what is the role of a repository? A repository is just a simple class. My major intent previously was that I need to separate out the business logic and UI logic. That we have already
Yes.
done. We have create a view model. Now I can write all my business logic there. Now, why there is need of the repository?
A single source of truth.
Single source of truth in what sense?
Like if we are using, like if you want to change something any further, so we no need to change in that like view layer. We can directly change at the repository level. Like currently we are using some REST API architecture, and in future we want to update with the GraphQL things, right? So we can just need to update that repository layer.
Okay.
Actually,
Any other thing?
actually we can
Yes.
actually view model is doing the multiple things. For example, the UI updation also falling in the So my view model is doing the multiple things, making the single responsibility. We should use the repository. So for every call, we should use the repository.
Okay, so Deepak mentioned the single source of truth, and okay. Anyone want to add on the point? Yes,
It
go ahead.
doesn't care about how data is flowing.
How data is flowing? Okay.
Like it's coming from the caching room database, or it is coming from the network.
Correct. Yes, Praveen.
It is done to follow the single role, single responsibility principle of the solid. So it makes the view models more testable as well.
Code will be reusable
Code
if we
will
will
be
write it in
reusable.
repository. Yes.
Okay. ठीक है. Now tell me, let's say I write the whole code, what I can say, the data flow, how the data is coming from the API, how the data is coming from the room or cache, anything. But if I have a feature specific requirement, so that logic, where should I place? In repository or view model? Let's say, let me simplify this. Let's say I have a screen. I need to show the list of product, correct? Now, my business requirement is that try to show only the active product, or like the product those who are present in the stock. We only need to show the in stock product on a screen. So my business requirement to filter out the data with the stock in stock, right? So that logic, that thing, where I should write in repository or in view model, and then why?
View model we need to write.
View model.
It's violate that single source of truth because it's not just a generic thing.
Correct. We should write in the view model. But if we write in the repository, what will be the issue?
Filter thing we need to remove. It will return all the things, all the data, right? We are doing the filtering thing here.
So what will be the issue? So we can get the direct data.
No, data will be there, but we need to write multiple methods there. Huh?
Like why? Why we need to write multiple methods?
To each cases.
Okay. Yes, correct. So you mean to say if I want to get the all product list on any other screen, so in that case I need to write a separate method again, right? So it means in the repository we should write only the core part that can be reusable, but whatever the business requirement we need to put into the view model. Clear? Now can you tell me, like we have the view model, we have the repository, but sometimes we are using a use case as well. So why there is another additional layer?
It comes in picture when we are using the clean architecture, right?
So what's the need of that?
To achieve testability and to achieve single responsibility principle, so that we can separate the specific business logic, which can be write in separate class, which called as use case.
Correct. It's all about the business logic. Yes, Samar, want to add any point?
The point which you have.
Yes, Samar, go ahead.
Yes. So right now you have mentioned, right? There was a discussion going on that whether should we add this piece of code in the view model or repository. Ideally, it should be added in the use case because that is a business logic and that should be observed by the view model.
Correct. But so, it's not mandatory to every time use the use case, or is it mandatory?
No, it's not mandatory absolutely, but it's good to use so that we have specific modules for specific jobs so that we can test it without the dependency on any of the modules. It's good to have.
Yes, got it. Now we have discussed about this MVVM coroutines. see, we discussed Kotlin basics, flow, discussed.
Compose is pending.
Let's add some point on the compose. Then we will plan one more session in which we will discuss, or in which we will take, I will take all the more advanced topics about, right, optimizations, leaks, and all these things. Will it work? All of you?
Yes.
Yes, we will do definitely the another session as well, but not the next. We will do one.
Networking part also we need to.
Yes, correct. We have a lot of things like
And
what I am planning right now, that try to do the mock interviews like right after the 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or within like in a month, like at least twice or thrice. Right.
What about DSA? As if do we cover
DSA. DSA. We will discuss at the end of the
some
class.
of the interviews? They are asking DSA also.
Yes, we will discuss about the DSA at the end of the class, so that it will be easy to edit this one, because this is only about the interview. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Now let's some discuss about the compose part, right? So can anyone tell me what's the need? Okay, let's forget about the need. Directly want to ask a question. Simple or most popular question is the composition. What is composition and what is recomposition?
Composition. Shall I tell? Yeah, the composition means the initial creation of the UI, like when our composable functions are executed for the first time to build the UI tree. And whereas recomposition is the process where the compose re-executes the part of the UI that depend on the state that has changed.
Okay. Now what are state hoisting? What are state hoisting?
The process of taking the states to the parent composable, so that the states flows up and the events flows down. Yeah.
Correct. Benefit of state hoisting?
Unnecessarily the state is not getting called multiple times. Whenever the parent is recomposed, at that moment only we will have the the child composable, child composable will be recomposed.
Okay, got it. Now, what is the meaning of remember actually? Why we use remember? Why we cannot use the mutable state of directly? Why there is need of adding the remember block? Yes, Aman, want to say something?
Yeah, during recomposition, my state will reset. So by help of the remember, it will be remember.
Correct. Nice. Now, what's the difference between remember and remember savable, and how remember savable works internally?
Actually, remember will work on for the save, but whenever configuration changes, that time again it will be reset. We use the remember savable, it will survive the configuration.
Yes, what? Can you explain it again?
Whenever we use the remember, it will be store the value, but whenever the configuration changes, that time it will reset the zero. Yeah. And if we use the remember savable, it will be save the value for the configuration changes also.
Okay, how it survive the configuration changes?
It uses saved instant state.
Save instance state internally. Okay, explore this. I have also covered this basically. Kindly explore this. There is a saved state registry. With the help of that, it survives the configuration changes. It internally uses the bundle and saved state registry, right? So go through that. Now, what is launch mode actually? Sorry, launch, not launch mode, launched effect actually. What is launched effect?
Uh,
Yes, anyone? Guys, launched effect. It's a very basic question.
Yeah, launched effect is basically a side effect API, we can say. Means it is used to run the coroutine tied to composition life cycle. Like if I will mention some network on a DB operation, I have added within launched effect. So in that case, before the recomposition, it will work. During recomposition, launched effect will not work. And like if we want to perform some operations that will be working initially, like once I will come to that screen. So in that case, I can pass a unique key within launched effect, like unit.
So launch effect will get executed on every key change.
Yeah, that is also possible. Like in that case, we need to change the key. But if we don't want to run it for every time, so in that case, we can pass a unique key, which will not get changed.
Correct. Correct. Hmm. Uh, ठीक है. Now. Okay, so it's about for today's session, guys. And let's wrap up. We have covered the basics of Kotlin, basics of Android, a little bit about the architecture part. Then Compose as well we have covered. So I think this session is will be helpful for you.
Definitely.
Yes, in the I will do one more session or one more what I can say group interview, correct? In which I will ask you the some more critical questions like this today in this session. This is like some basic question as well. But in the next one, we are going to move to the advanced parts for the senior levels. Clear? Startup times, let me adding some highlights. Startup times, optimization, memory leaks, offline first apps, caching, right? Dependency injection, room database migrations, work manager, correct? So I will inform that's about that session previously, like or 1 or 2 days before, so that you can do some preparation, correct? Another point is that that session was also not be the part not be that in such a way that I don't like in that I will not explain you the answers of those things, correct? Because these sessions we will do in just a mock interview, correct? If I do explain all the answers of all questions, so it is quite difficult to do the complete session or to cover all the important questions.
Agree. Yes.